Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest is writer, director, Ryan Shovey. How's it going, Ryan?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I just watched your horror short film, Sloppy Seconds.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
yeah.
it was pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me of a creep show slash Tales from a Crypt type of episode.
I would say that is 100% what we were going for. And in fact, when the idea came to me from Tracy, who's the lead actress and the producer on this, the first thing I said was, "That sounds like it would be an amazing Tales from the Crypt episode." And it's like all I've ever wanted to make was a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah, it's wild, and I love how you shot it too. With the cinematography shots, it did feel like watching a creep show episode of, the certain scenes, the lighting, the angles of the
Yeah.
characters. I got that
Man,
vibe.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, that for probably a year already before we even talked about doing that film, every night I was going to bed watching episodes of Tales from the Crypt. Like I just lay there with my iPad watching, a different episode every single night. So it was already ingrained in my brain. And when I did all the shot lists and stuff for this film, because I was a cinematographer as well, even the color of the blue moonlight coming in through the windows, like I tried to emulate that Tales from the Crypt style as much I could throughout the whole process. So that's really cool that you picked up on it.
I did. I picked up a lot of things. And when it starts off, you see a married couple, they're sitting there, and you can tell the the husband, he's like all anxious. He wants to get out of there for some reason. And then you got, Janet, the cool wife, it's like, "Oh, don't leave yet. Let's have some brisket." And then when you mentioned when brisket popped up, I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's going to be something trippy that's going to go on about that brisket."
Yeah, that was I wanted everybody to kind of, I guess I wanted you to kind of be guessing about, hey, what's going to go on with this, because this all does feel a little weird, but then in the end, I guess it's not really a mystery, so it's fine if people pick up on it right away. It's really fun.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, the whole brisket thing, and he kept on texting. His wife was acting all funny, going, "Here, let me bring some brisket in." And then when he starts eating it, I just had that creepy feeling about it. I go, "There's something wrong. There's something going to go crazy about that brisket." And she's acting
Yeah,
funny, running back and forth. And you hear her back in the kitchen, with that little eerie laugh. And then he keeps on getting texts from the woman he's cheating on Janet with,
yeah,
and then
Liz.
yeah, and it was like real trippy. It started getting like real creepy. How the text messages came going, "We're gonna come over here. I'm near here. I'm gonna kill her." And he's like, "What? Don't do that." Yeah,
Yeah,
it got me like invested in it and all that. And then towards the ending, when he like walks out of the house, looking for Janet, and he goes into the garage. Oh my gosh, that threw a curveball to me how it ended like that.
oh really, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was like that. It just reminds me of the ending of a typical creep show episode.
Yeah.
In that room, how'd you make that room like so realistic and creepy? Like it kind of reminded me of what Dexter would do to his victims.
Yeah, I heard that from a lot of people. I've never watched Dexter, so I didn't get that. I didn't have that understanding of it. But a lot of people referenced that to me. They were like, "Oh, this looks a lot like Dexter." I guess we think alike when we think about murdering people in a back room. I don't know, but I think to make it look as realistic as it did, the idea was to keep it as simple as possible. So it really was just, the sheets of plastic lining the walls, and then the way I had the lighting set up,
Yep.
most of the lighting in there was literally just those lights that were like hanging down from the ceiling. Like they were supposed to look like just like Home Depot can lights that you would get somewhere. And yeah, that little bit of lighting just really helped, I guess, sell everything, because a lot of it was dark for what it was. Yeah, so I'm really glad that scene came out so well, because we really didn't have a lot to work with.
Yeah, it was pretty good, and that fresh meat hanging there where Janet was just collecting that meat. I was like,
Yeah.
I kind of like that. That's a little, that's twisted, man. You know, it's like, it's like, hey, I guess that's what you get for cheating with your spouse.
yeah, you don't mess with a woman scorned. That whole story was actually, like I said, Tracy told me that story, and it was one of those situations where it was something that her ex-husband had cheated on her at a certain point. And this was kind of the story of what she wishes she could have done, because of, how angry she was, clearly. And all that was her. That whole thing, like the story idea, the gore. I probably leaned into it a lot with the visuals and stuff. But yeah, that was all her dealing with her trauma. So how gleeful she looks on screen with all the blood on her and the saw or the electric knife and all that stuff. That's all her going through her therapy session for all that thing.
Oh, she was having fun, and towards the end, when she grabbed all that brisket and she was just like eating and enjoy it, and then you look at her and she's got that evil, satisfied smile. That was creepy.
Yeah. She found a really good deep place for that. Made it really natural, especially when she takes off the ring and is like, nope, I'm single now. Just throws the ring away. Yeah, she really had a lot of fun with that. I mean, we all had a lot of fun with it, but it was a lot of fun to torture that actor, or at least the character, for sure.
Yeah,
because he deserved it. He shouldn't have been a jerk.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have cheated on his wife like that. She seemed like she was nice.
I know, right?
Yeah, she seemed like she was so nice. She treated him like a king. Was cooking him some good brisket. And why did you have to? And then why did you have to go cheat? And poor Lizzie. And Janet's probably thinking Lizzie's tasting good right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that he has in common, or she has in common with Philip, I guess. Like, they both know how she tastes in a way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, on the starting of the film, I loved it because she did the old style, like black and white with the pulp noir music, which was clever. I liked the the noir type of music. It kind of reminded me like if it was getting ready to start into like a classic Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode.
That's really strong praise, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Like I said, I really wanted it to be. I just wanted the whole thing from top to bottom to be like at least an early '90s style, Tales from the Crypt type thing. But I've heard from a lot of different people the different anthology shows, the horror shows that they kind of gravitated towards. And Alfred Hitchcock Presents, that is a huge honor to be kind of up there with that as well, because those were really good and suspenseful. So yeah, the composer he's a buddy of mine. And once he saw the script and I told him I wanted to do it with that style, he was like, oh man, this is all I've ever wanted to do. I will make the best score I can for you, because this is all I ever wanted to. And he really knocked it out with that really suspenseful, like he said, noir strings and all that stuff. It really came out really good.
Yeah, it did. And like we talked about earlier, you definitely need to watch Dexter.
Apparently, I don't know. Apparently, I lived it a little bit in this, but yeah, that's what I've heard. I never got around to watching it. I don't remember. Well, I didn't have. What was that? Was on Showtime, right? I never got around to. I didn't have the channel and stuff when it was out, so I was just like, man, I'll catch up. But yeah, like I said, so many people said, like, even when we were on set, so many people were like, "Oh, you want it to look like the Dexter thing?" And I'm like, I have no frame of reference for that. I just know I want it to look like this.
How'd you get involved with the film with the actress who played Janet? She seems like she has a twisted mind. I mean, I know she based it off, getting cheated on, all that, but she had a twisted mind. That's one woman I sure would never want to piss off.
Yeah. Well, she was at one point. She was my neighbor, and in fact, I met her. We were outside. I met her. I was walking around outside, and she was filming another web series that she does. This was a few years ago now.
Okay.
And so I ran into her and some of her friends out there where they were filming, and I was just a curious, nerd, because I saw like blood and stuff, and I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? And she happened to be sitting there like eating a heart, like eating a human heart. Like that was what was going on. And then, but they stopped when I walked up because they had just had somebody come up before me and say like, hey, where's your permits? Why are you filming out? You're not allowed to be filming out here. So they thought I was going to do the same thing. So she got really sweet with me. She's like, oh, hi, yeah, we're just making a movie. I promise we'll be gone soon. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, this is really cool. And that was the first time we had met. And then we cultivated a friendship. And then we when by the time we were making Sloppy Seconds, we were actually in a relationship. And so we were able to talk back and forth for like months about how we wanted to make this film and how it, how her character worked out and what she thought about and all that fun stuff. But we were just trying to figure out a way to make just any short film. We were wanting to just make something because it had been a while for both of us. So she told me this idea, and like I said, we were kind of off to the races. Like we both just fell in love with it, and it pretty much wrote itself at that point. But yeah, it all spawned from her thing, and we run in the same crowds. So she's really cool people.
In the short, was that really legit brisket? Was that some good barbecue brisket?
So yes, it was. We ordered. So from the place we ordered, so we filmed it over a weekend.
Yeah.
And on that Saturday, we got some really good brisket delivered so that we could do that. But by the time we got to all the shots involving eating the brisket, it was getting pretty cold. And we tried to keep it as warm as possible, but, it wasn't really that possible with everything else going on. So the actor, Clayton, had to keep eating it cold. And he got sick of it by the end of the first night. And then the second night is when we did basically all of the big close-up stuff inside where she's feeding it to him and all that stuff. But the place that we got the brisket from wasn't open on the second day, on Sunday. So we had to get it from some other place, and it wasn't as good. And both of them looking like they were enjoying the brisket. That's just their good acting, because at that point they weren't enjoying it. It wasn't very good for anybody. It was cold and just kind of not really great. But they made it look like they were having a blast with it.
I know Clayton. He played off his role pretty good with the character Janet. It's like it's like they were comfortable around each other. I know they were getting sick of eating that brisket, but it felt like they had like a relationship a long time ago. I mean, that's what I got. How they were portraying each other. It just felt real.
That again, that's really great praise. Actually, we had just met Clayton for this film, so he came on. Like, we weren't friends or anything before that. He had just moved to town, and by recommendation from a friend of Tracy's, we brought Clayton on, and he killed it, really. Like, he came in, he befriended us. We all hung out. He hung out with Tracy. They got a rapport together, and plus, while on set, I was doing like 7 other jobs. So while they were waiting for me to be ready, I just had them like sit on the couch and talk to each other, or get in a fight with each other, and try to build memories. And they were able to come up to a pretty good place to where, yeah, they had a really good rapport with each other. I'm glad it came across on screen that it looked like it was pretty natural.
Speaking of sloppy seconds, how you made it a short, I could see it being a feature film about the crazy adventures of Janet.
Ah, that would be fun. That would be really fun, actually. I never thought about that. Yeah. Like in what way? Like, what would you want to see?
I would like to see, Janet, her doing, being her like, like friendly self, but her, evilness, like inviting people over, and she just has a craving for them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So like like the craving for the flesh kind of drives her crazy in a bit. That could be interesting. I like to think that her actions were somewhat justified.
Yeah.
In the short, like, hopefully she's not doing that to just to random people. Hopefully she's doing it to people who actually deserve to, I guess, get murdered and eaten.
Maybe she does. Maybe she follows these certain people or sees something about them online and they're really bad, so she does research on them, and then she'll like bump into them somewhere and then befriend them and then lure them back into the house. And...
Yeah. Yeah, that could be really fun. Yeah, that could be really fun. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to let her know about that.
I think that would be a cool feature film, because I like to see what Janet does next. I mean, she doesn't have to, have the craving for flesh. I mean, she can go on a killing spree too. I mean, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, I'm sure that really boosts her self-esteem, knowing that, like, she can, if anybody messes with her, she knows a way to stop them and somehow. So it sounds pretty fun.
Shoot, she can get away with it. I mean, she's real good at cleaning up her mess.
Yeah, she knows how to get rid of everything. That's for sure.
So, you were at the Whorehound Film Festival. So, how much fun did you have at Whorehound?
Whorehound was a blast. Well, what was really fun, I guess for me, was just walking up to random people, and they would ask me like, "Oh, what film is yours? When's your film playing?" And I would tell them, "Yeah, it's Sloppy Seconds." And just about everybody would stop and be like, "Oh my God, I saw that trailer." When they did, because one day they showed like all the trailers for all the films, and they're like, "Oh my God, I saw that trailer. That looks amazing. It looks so much fun. I can't wait to see that." And so that got me really hyped. And then I found out that the same time when our film was screening was also the same time that Bruce Campbell was doing the big Q&A, so his big panel. And so I was scared that nobody was going to be at my screening, because everybody was going to try to be at the Bruce Campbell panel. And no, I was wrong. Like it was packed. Our screening room was completely packed for the slasher films, and so being in there was a blast, because it really resonated with everybody in the audience. They all cheered at the right parts and laughed and seemed to have a great time with it and clapped at the end. And so that was amazing. And then the rest of Horror Hound, I just like going to horror conventions. There's a lot of them out here by me in Los Angeles. And so just walking around the floor, seeing what things people made. I bought this really cool Necronomicon book from Evil Dead.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a notebook, but they custom made a cover that looks like the Necronomicon, made it out of silicone. So that's really fun. So just the vibe there and everybody being there, because we all love, we're all a bunch of horror nerds. So that it was a blast for sure.
So were you surprised you had a huge audience for Sloppy Seconds, and what were you feeling, while you were sitting there watching it with some of the horror fans? Yeah,
I was definitely surprised. Like I said, I was expecting I was expecting everybody to be in the Bruce Campbell panel, but a lot of people really wanted to come see slasher films apparently, and I was sitting probably halfway to the front. Normally I like to sit in the back, but I was sitting pretty close to the front. And so throughout the film, when my film was playing, it was silent in there. So the whole time where like Janet and Philip are interacting with each other, and then he's texting on the phone, it was just silent. So I was actually very worried. I was thinking, oh my God, everybody's bored. Like nobody's saying anything. Nobody's interacting or whatever. And then once he goes into that back room, everybody applauded. Like the whole crowd erupted. It was surreal to me, I would say. And then when after all the murder stuff happens, it was just huge rounds of applause. People were standing up. Like it was such a great, fun feeling. So much fun to where like once it ended, I had to step away and try to hide in a corner with my cell phone. And I was texting a play-by-play to all the my crew and actors, just letting them know exactly what had just happened, and they all got a kick out of that as well. So it was a great surprise. Like I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I came to that one, but I missed your film. I was a little late, because I was like running around covering, the film festival, because I went there to see Final Summer.
Yeah, those guys were really cool.
Yeah, and then after Final Summer was over, I saw you guys where you guys had a Q&A, and you were sporting that Creepshow t-shirt, man.
Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, it was a Tales from the Crypt t-shirt.
Yeah.
Which actually, and it glows in the dark, too. So every time a film would start playing and I'm sitting there, I have this glowing Tales from the Crypt t-shirt, thinking I'm going to distract somebody. I kept forgetting that I had a glow-in-the-dark t-shirt. Yeah, that's a really fun one.
That's funny. You're probably just trying to cover it. It's like, don't light up. I'm trying to watch this film. I don't want everybody to be like pointing at him going, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah, I was really representing my my style there that day for sure.
So, what's your next project since you've done Sloppy Seconds?
Well, today when I had to rush home to get on this call because I was at the coffee shop writing, I'm working on another feature film right now, writing one, and that we're going to try to make really low budget, say a slasher flick. So that's kind of the big thing on the docket. On top of that, I have a couple other feature film scripts that are just out there, like waiting for producers to get back with me and trying to find funding to get that going. But that's really the big focus right now is to actually make a feature film. Because I've made a lot of short films. So I think I'm kind of done making short films, but yeah. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I'm hoping to have some cool stuff in the future. But as far as Sloppy Seconds, it actually got picked up to be a part of a horror anthology for a feature film. So we're I can't talk about what company it's with or anything like that until they actually start promoting it. But that should be coming out later this year as well. So people will be able to see Sloppy Seconds as part of a feature film anthology on all the streamers.
Well, congratulations on that. I bet you were really happy. I mean, people out there on streaming are going to get a chance to see Sloppy Seconds.
Yeah, we were really excited about it. It was all the short films I've made. This is the first one to get distribution, and we were not expecting it. It just happened, through word of mouth, and somebody just so happened to be wanting to make a horror anthology that was like Creepshow. And so they saw this and they're like, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what we're looking for. We want this to be like Creepshow or Tales from the Crypt. And I'm like, great. Glad we could be of service. So yeah, we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. So where can everybody follow you on social media to see what you're going to be doing next?
So I would say my hub is you can follow me at you can go to my website, which is ryanshovey.com. and that has all my social links on that. But I'm mostly active on Instagram these days. It's at RD Shovey. D is in David, RD Shovey. And I'm always posting pictures of things I'm working on, stories about, what's going on with the films I've already made, pictures of me with my dog, like all kinds of stuff. Or you basically can find everything on there. And then I'm on Twitter right now, but that's at Creepy Cool Pics on Twitter. And you can find me doing some random nonsense on there until none of us uses Twitter anymore, I guess.
That's funny. I'm surprised you didn't add your dog into Sloppy Seconds. That would have been interesting.
That would have been fun. I think he would have just tried to eat the brisket the whole time, and it would have been gotten in the way. And
then you'd be getting the people watching it be like, "Don't kill the dog. Let the dog live."
No, you can't kill the dog. Not especially this guy. He'd be sitting right there next to Janet, eating brisket with him.
Not knowing it was human flesh.
Yeah, not caring. As long as it's food. It's food that you're eating, so I'm eating it too. Yeah.
Like I said, thank you so much for coming on and talking about Sloppy Seconds.
Yeah, of course. No, I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm glad we got to connect.
Yeah, me too. And who knows, maybe I'll look forward to seeing you at some other film festivals.
Definitely. If you do, then come up and say hi. Like, I love chatting with people and meeting people, especially about horror films and stuff. It's always a good time.
All right. Thank you so much. And everybody, thank you for listening.